So Nicholas, what type of business transactions do you normally help your clients with?
Great question, Randy. The types of business transactions we normally help our clients with include setting up the entities, getting formed, include contracts, whether it's preparing them, revising them, negotiating them, creating multiple contracts to create a repeatable framework. And then finally, when it comes to buying and selling assets, we help clients when it comes to mergers and acquisitions, which is a fancy name for buying and selling businesses. We help real estate investor clients buying and selling properties and portfolios. And we help business clients and real estate clients when they need it to buy and sell equipment and assets of that nature.
And typically, are they how sophisticated are the clients? Are they like they don't know anything about what they're getting into? Or are there some that have a lot of experience, or is it all over the place?
Well, that's a great question. And as long as it's in these areas, we can help a client, whether they're just starting out or a client doing $100 million a year. And when it gets to more sophisticated, then there's usually more nuance, there's more subtlety, there's more depth in terms of the contracts and the documents, as opposed to the simplicity when one is just starting out. There's usually basic agreements that can get them to the next level. And then at that point, we get them to the next level of agreements, and they keep graduating, generally as their complexities increase.
And regarding the mergers then, are you just, are they working out the deals, or are you at any point, influencing how, what's happening with the merger?
Yeah, great question, and both. We have some clients come to the table, the terms are already locked down, and they just need somebody to paper the deal, aka get it into the legal documents. We have some clients who have not got the terms locked down. They have some ideas of what they're looking for, and maybe they're not as confident in negotiating, or maybe sometimes the other side, they're professional negotiators. Mm-hmm. In fact, we had one of those just this morning, and we're helping to negotiate the business terms. And the people we're negotiating with, they're buying and selling all the time. And my client, this is one of his first sells at all, ever. And so to him, it's a big deal. And then once we have the business terms locked down, that's usually the price, that's usually the time frame, exactly what value, what are the assets being exchanged. Mm-hmm. And then it comes to the legal terms. And that usually, it depends, has a lot more nuance. And usually it's only the lawyers who understand what the legal terms generally provide are the liability protections. It's kind of like insurance, where 99% of the time you don't need it. You're wondering, why am I doing this? Why am I paying? It's that 1% of the time when all of a sudden nightmare of money, time, all sorts of issues that when you have the protections in place, you are thankful for. And then interestingly enough, most people doing a deal, they want to do this deal. They're happy. They're enjoying the process. They like the other person, because when there's trust lost, the deal will end. It's what happens a month later, a year later, 5 years later, that can create all sorts of questions. Questions like, I don't remember when we agreed to this, or you said this, and now you're saying this, or hey, that lawsuit that came up, that wasn't me, or hey, did you know the government's requiring these additional permits and we need to readjust the terms? And if you don't have it all laid out in the contract, then you're up for negotiation, you're up for potential litigation, you're up for a lot of nightmare, not what you really want, which is peace of mind and focusing on moving forward.
Are there any specific examples that you have about maybe what you've done during the deal to help a client that maybe was going down the wrong path, or corrected or made sure they had some of that verbiage?
Yeah, great question. And generally speaking, one of the values our clients regularly appreciate us for, it's not just, yes, we're a transaction firm in terms of the services, but we're not a transaction firm in terms of our clients. We are people first, mission always. That means we are all about the clients and their needs, which means the clients are getting counsel way beyond just the specific documents. We're coaching, even if they don't need us, every step of the way. And they'll tell us we don't need you. But it might even be a client that comes in with all the terms locked down, and yet we're able to shed light on specific areas. Whether it's, have you thought about this particular time frame? Or have you thought about maybe we can create more value and make more money in this exchange? Or, we have a potential giant vulnerability here. And that's usually what the clients are coming to us for, not realizing we give so much more, is what are the liabilities? We don't know what we don't know, and we're trusting the professionals to guide us. And a lot of times it is around the liability, and there's so many details in that realm, whether it's certain covenants like non-compete, non-solicitation, whether it's an actual liability cap, meaning let's not have a small issue that has unlimited liability. If it's a $10,000 contract and there could be $1 million liability, that's not good. Whether it's perhaps indemnification, which is a fancy word for pass-through of liability. So if somebody's suing you because what the other guy did when you've been indemnified, it goes right through you. If not, then now you're getting sued and they're getting sued and you get dragged into a litigation.
If somebody out there, you mentioned somebody was a first time, selling a business. If somebody's watching, when should they start? When should they contact? How far ahead of when they're thinking about selling should they start getting a lawyer like yourself involved?
Yeah, that's a great question. And in terms of preparing, just the old adage of failure to plan is a plan to fail.
Sure it is.
And we do get calls when it is in the 11th hour and the deal's basically done. And usually the deals are not great. And we just do what we can to help to preserve as much value as we can for our clients. In an ideal world, a year, 3, 5, depending on the level of the business, especially if a lot of our clients are in the baby boomer age range and maybe they don't have children to pass on to, so they're ready to sell. And if they're recognizing that they'll be retiring soon, the more time, the better. There's things that can be done, A, on the legal side, B, on the business side, and ultimately C, on the valuation side. With a year to 3 of preparation, we've seen business values double. We've seen them even pentuple, and it can absolutely be done. It's just a question of the timing, and usually the client has to have made that decision and then be willing to follow through for a couple of years.
All right, now, Nicholas, then what if somebody wants to buy a business? When should they, again, get a lawyer involved in this?
Well, what's interesting is in the M&A world, mergers and acquisitions, and even similarly in the real estate acquisition world, there's a buyer and there's a seller. Mm-hmm. And what makes us unique is we're able to service both sides. There's a lot of folks that are focused on one side, sell side, a buy side. And because we've represented countless transactions, both in the buy and sell, we can create the best deal for whoever our client is. And when it comes to buying, generally speaking, it takes a little bit longer than clients realize. When it's a fast transaction, maybe less than $5 million, that might be a 9 to 12 month process. And it could be as high as 18 to 24 months. If it's a business 5, 10, 25 million plus, now we're talking there's teams of people involved. Now we're talking that this could be a multi-year process. And when it comes to the buy side, what level of negotiation support do you want? If you're looking for negotiation support holistically, then get a lawyer involved quickly. Yeah. If you're feeling confident on negotiating the terms, it's still a good idea to at least have a call with an attorney to at least think about some of the legal considerations so you don't have to address them in the 11th hour. You can have those sorts of legal details unfold naturally through that 6, 12, 18-month process as you're looking at prospective acquisitions, as you're starting to put out the letters of intent, as you're engaging with potential acquiring targets, and then starting to negotiate those terms. When you have some ideas, specifically on the legal side, then it makes it way easier through the process so that when you are engaging the lawyer, most of the big stuff has already been discussed, and the lawyer can most effectively execute on your behalf.
And Nicholas, I have to assume that because you do both sides, you help people acquire, you help people sell, you've got a good idea of what the other guy's thinking.
Exactly.
Right? And that's that insight and that knowledge has got to be really helpful to your clients.
Exactly. And just even to that effect or to that point, we're business people. Yeah. And so we understand what business is about. And so we understand what our clients really want, and we understand what the other party really wants. And generally speaking, the best negotiation is to understand what the other is thinking and to put yourself in their shoes. And when we can do that, we can start to ask the questions of them, start to get that clear picture. And next thing you know, the negotiation for our clients go very favorably and very frictionless. And next thing you know, less time, less stress, better deal, everybody wins.